Aragorn, Legolas, Robin Hood, that one Scottish football team, Rangers are awesome. But which one's the best? Well, we're breaking down every Ranger subclass in the game to find out. Obviously, any subclass can be good, but some are just better at tracking hobbits and slaughtering cave trolls than others. Also, I'll include the Patreon rankings as we go, which inform all of these decisions so you can see how the experts feel as well as me. Okay, let's do this. Beastmaster. The iconic, the amazing, the truly awful Beastmaster. If you've ever heard a meme about Rangers being bad, this subclass is pretty much why. The Beastmaster is all about having a badass pet fight alongside you. It's an epic idea, and the subclass sucked for several reasons. The animal you choose has to be a beast of a CR equal to 1/4 or below, and it uses that beast's stat block with a few very minor modifications. Basically, it's pretty weak. Much worse, your beast can't do anything unless you give up your action to command it, or one of your attacks if you have extra attack. Action economy-wise, this is terrible. Also, if your beast dies, it just dies, and although you can then bond with another beast, you've still got to process that trauma. Luckily, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything introduced an update to this feature called Primal Companion, and suddenly, everything was better. Now, you magically summon a beast of the land, sea, or sky, and they have a prepared stat block which grows in power across the game. And these stat blocks are pretty great. You also get to pick what it looks like. You can have whatever creature suits you. You don't have to choose the most optimal CR 1/4 creature just to be functional. And you can change the type of beast that you summoned at the end of a long rest. One D&D tried to do this limited stat block type of thing for the druid, but worse, and everyone hated it. But for the ranger, as a subclass option, it's really good. You can have an ass-kicking chicken the size of a man. Best of all, you command your primal companion in combat as a bonus action, not a full action, so you can actually fight alongside it, not just be a Pokemon trainer. The higher ranger abilities all buff your companion in some way, letting them multi-attack or letting you target them as well as you whenever you cast a spell with the range of self. There are some great options out there, but haste via a ring of spell storing is probably the most fun. Old Beastmasters were D tier, but new Beastmasters are kind of epic, although you are all in on your companion. They're a solid A tier option for Rangers. Drake Warden. Drake Wardens are similar to Beastmasters in a lot of ways. They both get a badass pet. Beastmasters get a shape-shifting beast, Drake Wardens get a dragon. Just like Beastmasters, you can command it as a bonus action, and the Drake is a little tankier than the Beast options. By 7th level it can fly, deal 2d6 per bite attack, and has a reaction that deals damage, so action economy wise, it's also a little stronger. You also get to choose what color of dragon your pet is, and you get resistance to the damage type of that associated dragon. At later levels, it even gets a breath weapon attack of fire or lightning or whatever damage type you choose. And of course, you can live out your Aragon fantasies of riding your flying large dragon, but only after level 15. So honestly, if that's your dream, just play a sorcerer with summon draconic spirits. You can do it from level 9. Anyway, Beastmasters and Drake Warden are very similar. Dragons do a little less damage in the early game, but you can ride them in the late game. Honestly, I see this one as dealer's choice. Do you want a pet dragon or a pet platypus that is as strong as a dragon? I can't make that choice for you, but either way, these guys are also A tier. Fey Wanderer. Fey Wanderers are the sociable rangers. They let you add your wisdom score to your charisma checks, essentially letting you seduce people with your deep knowledge of the world, even if you have a charisma score of 9 and smell like bear feces. Charisma checks are some of the best in the game, so if you play into this, maxing out both wisdom and charisma, you'll be more persuasive than a bard, which is really impressive. They can also add 1d4 to one attack per turn, which ain't nothing, and they get a fantastic extra spell list. Charm Person, Misty Step, Dispel Magic, all awesome to have. So the 7th level feature lets you try to frighten or charm someone whenever someone that you can see within 120 feet succeeds on a save against being frightened or charmed. You also have advantage against being frightened or charmed, so the obvious play pattern is an enemy tries to scare you, fails, and then you scare them right back, which is hilarious. At 11th level, you can cast Summon Fae without concentration, which is really good, and at 15th level, you can cast Misty Step once per turn for free. Fae Wanderers are awesome. Sure, they don't have the action economy power that the Summoner subclasses get, but that amazing buff to your charisma is arguably the most powerful ranger ability in the game. They get low A tier.
Welcome back to Who Wants to Be a Dungeon Master? Round 2, quick question time. What accents should a drow have? Australian, because they come from down under. Correct. What ability should a kobold barbarian have?
Six-pack tactics.
Correct. Your players travel to a location you haven't planned for. What do you do? Break down in tears. No, start a fire. Ooh, both very close, but there is a better solution. You just use any one of over 4,000 maps from Chepeku that you can pick up for just $5. What?
Get the best TTRPG maps in existence from Che and Peku. Grab over 4,000 stunningly beautiful maps for just $5. Yes, no cap. 4,000 plus maps for $5. When you sign up on Patreon, you get the full back catalog. Bring your games to life with animated battle maps and Foundry VTT modules. Realize any setting imaginable. Spark your creativity with Che and Peku. You can see all the maps on their website, or grab all of them from their Patreon, linked below. By the way, these are the maps that I actually use in my IRL games and in my published magazines. Every map you'll need forever in beautiful quality. Grab yours today, link in description. Gloomstalker. Maybe the most famous ranger subclass. Gloomstalkers are the ultimate predator ambush build. You get dark vision out to 60 feet, or if you already have dark vision, its range is increased by 30. Owlin Gloomstalker says hello with 150 feet of dark vision. More importantly, while you're in darkness, even creatures with dark vision can't see you. This is terrifyingly powerful. It basically renders 90% of the monster manual helpless against you while fighting in the dark. And if that weren't enough, you get a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your wisdom modifier, and on the first turn of each combat, you get to make an extra attack, and that extra attack deals an extra 1d8 damage. And all of that amazing stuff is just at level 3. 7th level gives you proficiency in wisdom saves. It's a boring ability, but it's really powerful. Rangers already get dex saves, and wisdom and dex are the most common saves in the game. By this point, you're pretty hard to stop. At 11th level, you can attack again immediately if you miss an attack on your turn, which is a nice little reliability booster, and at 15th level, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on an incoming attack roll. It's okay. So, Gloomstalkers are kind of broken in campaigns that take place in the dark a lot, or just take place at night sometimes. Outside of that, you might struggle to get the very most out of them, but considering they have a ton of other awesome abilities too, I'm comfortable putting them up in S tier. Horizon Walker. Horizon Walkers are all about extra planar abilities, which usually means teleporting and banishing things. They get a great extended spell list. Misty Step, Haste, Banishment, all awesome spells, and Protection from Evil and Good is situational, but when that situation is what's happening, it's really good. From 3rd level, you can use your bonus action to increase the damage dealt by one of your attacks this turn by 1d8, 2d8 when you reach level 11. That's pretty good extra damage every turn, but it's not as much extra damage as you'd get by having a beast companion and using a bonus action to order them to attack as well. At 7th level, you get access to the 7th level spell Etherealness, which is kind of wild in concept, getting access to a spell that even full casters don't get until level 13. But it's not really a breakable spell, and it only lasts until the end of turn. Basically turns you into a ghost, float through walls and ceilings, etc. At 11th level, you get Distant Strikes, letting you teleport up to 10 feet before attacking someone. This is good for avoiding attacks of opportunity, and if you attack 2 people with each of your attacks in this way, you get to make a 3rd attack against a 3rd person. It's like a mini Steel Wind Strike, teleporting around and slashing enemies to pieces. Extra attacks are always good. Finally, at 15th level, you get Spectral Defense, halving all the damage you would take from one attack as a reaction. Rogues get this ability at level 5, but it's still a good ability. I love Horizon Walkers, but they only really shine from level 11 onwards. That's kind of late in the game, but they're still fine up to that point. They go in high B tier. Hunters. Hunters are one of the first ranger subclasses ever printed, and you can kinda tell. They have this sort of build your own abilities approach, where each subclass feature gives you 3 options to choose from. Unlike the Totem Barbarian though, which nails this concept with diverse, powerful, and flavorful options, the Hunter Ranger kind of falls flat. Usually there's one option which is clearly better than the rest. The first 3rd level option is Colossus Slayer, which deals an extra 1d8 damage when you hit a creature with an attack once per turn if their hit points are below their maximum. That is most of the time when you're fighting, so it's nice damage. The other option is Giant Killer, which when you think about it means the exact same thing as Colossus Slayer, and this one lets you immediately make an extra attack if a large or bigger creature misses you with an attack. The final option is Horde Breaker, which gives you an extra attack every turn, but only if there are 2 or more creatures standing directly next to each other. Out of all of these, Colossus Slayer is viewed as the best because it is the most reliable damage. You're going to be getting that extra d8 most of the time. At 7th level, you get defensive options, and none of them are amazing. Multi-attack defense gives you a situational buff to your AC, which can be useful, but the others are very mid, either giving you advantage against being frightened or giving enemies disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you. You get more defensive options at level 15, either halving the damage on an incoming attack, like rogues get 10 levels earlier, halving the damage on a failed dex save, like rogues get 8 levels earlier, or redirecting an attack that misses you to hit someone else, which is hilarious. The best hunter features are at 11th level, the multi-attack options. There's Volley, which lets you attack any number of creatures within 10 feet of a point that you choose that's in range of your bow or gun if you're playing an American. I like this one, because it lets you say, give them a volley, every turn, like in Lord of the Rings. Or there's Whirlwind Attack, letting you use your action to make a melee attack against every creature within 5 feet of you. Both of these are obviously awesome, letting you pull off a crazy number of attacks if there are lots of creatures around. I feel like I've been down on these guys for some reason, but honestly, they're not bad. The problem is that even if you pick the best option at every single level, there are still better rangers out there. Still, hunters can do stuff that no other ranger can. They're low B tier. Monster Slayer. This subclass is the perfect option for beginners. They get some good bonus spells, especially at the higher levels, and they get the Slayer's Prey feature, which is basically a mini Hunter's Mark, dealing an extra 1d6 damage the first time you damage a creature each turn. It costs your bonus action to use, which basically means you always have a use for your bonus action. For a newer player who doesn't want to have to worry about 2-weapon fighting or bonus action spells, this is great action economy. Monster Slayers also get this ability, where you can identify any creature's vulnerabilities, immunities, and resistances, but it costs an action to use. That's cool if you want to go all Sherlock Holmes on someone, but don't bother with this in combat. It's usually very obvious what resistances a monster has. Don't attack the fire elemental with fire. But if you're ever scouting an enemy prior to combat, there's no reason not to do this just to grab the extra information. Later levels give you a small buff to saving throws against your Slayer's Prey target's effects, or use your reaction to counterattack them if they force you to make a saving throw. If that attack hits, your save automatically succeeds. They also get a once per short rest counterspell ability, which is situational, but it's also an uncounterspellable counterspell, which can be game winning. They're not the strongest, but Monster Slayers are good, simple, and fun. For noobs, it's a great option. They go in B tier. Swarm Keeper. Swarm Keepers keep swarms. It can be a swarm of bugs, it can be a swarm of rats, it can be a swarm of birds. You don't need to be covered in cockroaches to make this subclass work. When you hit a creature, your swarm can either deal an extra 1d6 damage, move them horizontally 15 feet if they fail a strength save, or move you 5 feet away. That makes no sense to me why they can move a struggling enemy 15 feet away but only move a willing you 5 feet, but whatever. All these abilities are good, and they cost you nothing. They even get upgraded at level 11, knocking enemies prone, giving you a +2 to your AC when you're moved, or dealing 1d8 damage rather than 1d6. Starting at 7th level, you can fly by using a bonus action to command your swarm to carry you for 1 minute. You can do this multiple times a day. It's good. Finally, at level 15, you can halve all incoming damage from one attack. The exact same feature that rogues get 10 levels earlier again. Only this time your swarm also teleports you up to 30 feet away. So I guess it's a little better. Swarm keepers are honestly underrated. They even get a pretty decent spell list. They're simple like the Monster Slayer, but every turn you can do something different if you want to. I think they sneak into A tier, mainly for the combo potential your swarm brings, moving enemies through spike growth for an extra 6d4 damage, or just dropping them off a cliff. And yeah, looking at it, Rangers really don't have a bad subclass at all, at least not since Beastmasters got updated. Even the B tier ones are good, they're just not quite as powerful as the others. But pick the one that suits how you want to play, you really can't mess this up. This month's issue of the DM's secret weapon features the Chaos Paladin of Wild Magic. All the power of the Paladin, all the fun of random wild magic surges turning the battlefield into a giant game of roulette. Plus new adventures, maps, races, feats, and more, all on Patreon. Check it out, link up here and also down there. Also remember to like and subscribe, check out other videos on the channel, and yeah, that's all I got. See you next time.